Hey everybody, hope everybody is doing well today. I wanted to just make this pretty short video. I know it's getting kind of late. Just to give you an update about the response to the State of the Union. Look, the presidency is an ultimate disaster. It's just a joke. I think a lot of people who claim to support him know that there's something fishy. I think the establishment is in a lot of trouble. It's basically we're in a situation where something is leaking from a ceiling and there's like a few drops, and we're at a point where just the leaks is accelerating, and before we know it, something immediately has to be done before the whole thing just starts to blow up. Of course, one of the issues with the supposed president, or I like to call him the resident, is the fact that he likes to claim of the low unemployment rate and the high number of jobs he's created and all that. It's just a complete mess. We all know that this was just a rebound from shutting down the economy from COVID. And speaking of job creation, remember the blue states have not recovered as well from the red states, particularly like Idaho and Utah. He can point out to the unemployment rate, nevertheless, the labor force participation rate, and which matters the most, American-born 25 to 54-year-olds, is at and near all-time lows. It's a disaster, folks. The situation is not looking very well. He talks about inflation. Of course, he doesn't tell you what caused the inflation. And he wants to blame, oh, well, this was Ukraine and everything, corporate greed. And yeah, that something had to do with it. But he's not telling you that the spending played a role, and more important, the supply chain disruptions. Because supposedly, this inflation massively would have not occurred if we didn't have all these lockdowns and all this COVID efforts. Think about it. No mention about the border crisis, about how towns are being overrun, how this is going to affect our country, the drugs pouring in, but all the problems we had to deal with: illegals, fake social security numbers, remittances, job competition, children being born as American citizens and getting welfare payments. No mention about that, how this is going to affect our country. But we know that this is done because the more they bring in, the more support they have, more canvassers, more able to fill up districts to, when it comes to the census and congressional districts. We know what this is all about. And now, increasingly, they're admitting there's a problem at the border. The establishment, the media. It's absolutely unbelievable. He didn't talk about the effects of the jabs, whether the lockdown efforts, social distancing, the mask, did it really work? Everybody's just walking away. Did the vaccines do its job? Did it stop transmission? Because he talked about, oh, we got to get vaccinated. Did he talk about why gas prices are still higher than what it was when he took office? Because remember, we elected Barack Obama in 2008 to lower gas prices when it hit $4 for the gallon for the first time. No mention about the housing bubble that is bursting. Prices of homes are still high. We elected Obama because he was going to tackle the greed on Wall Street. We didn't get any Glass-Steagall legislation, breakup of the banks. No way he's going to talk about how he's going to go after the corruption and greed on Wall Street. How he wants to put these people in jail for corrupting our country, but we got to use race and identity politics to distract us. Think about it. Of course, Wall Street was among his largest donors. That's a fact. No mention he's going to tackle the Federal Reserve. Very little to talk about how exactly he's going to tackle income inequality. And I'm sure he did, but his record doesn't show it. And speaking of all this, we know that these folks are not really working for the average people as much as they used to. Now, the state senator of Nevada, Fabian Donyante, I think that's what's his name. He blocked me on Twitter for exposing an organization that is pro-illegal alien that basically pays people to be activists so they can feel like they're victims after coming here illegally in a society that was built by white people, and they try to testify them by paying them. And now it's no surprise that many of them in the so-called Latino caucus, so they have to organize for racial justice, even though many of them have snuck in, and now they're saying, well, everybody should get Medicaid in the state of Nevada regardless of status. Now, first of all, I don't think this is going to get a lot of support. Obviously, I don't think the governor is going to support it, just like he doesn't support the idea of non-citizens being cops. Nevertheless, who's going to pay for it? Think about it. The economy the way it is. Are they going to raise our taxes? We've seen California with the taxes going up. Companies are leaving. People are moving here because they're trying to get away from these high taxes and higher costs. How is this going to work, folks? And nevertheless, they argue, well, they need medical care. Who's going to take care of them? Well, how are they different from any foreign national from other part of the country? The point is, you don't take care of them so they don't get the incentive. And by the way, anchor babies, which are U.S. citizens, they do get welfare because they're U.S. citizens. They do get Medicaid. Mr. Reid admitted that in 1993. And they can become politicians. They can become lawyers. It's just a double standard. It's the incentive for them to come in. And this means that some illegal alien can come over, if this thing becomes law, and get medical care immediately. It's a disaster, folks. And they say, well, some illegal aliens have health insurance. A lot of them do. But who's hiring them? We need an audit. We need to see why Nevada has among the highest rate of illegal aliens in the state. I just posted a video about a lot of these migrant workers in front of Star Nursery. What's going on? Why are they there? This is not right. We have to report this. We have to find these employers. Unbelievable, folks. Somebody should just get out there and confront them with a megaphone, film them. And I would tell them this, you know what? Maybe you should pass this bill, but if you want to get the funds, tax the casinos a little more. Yeah. And let's see their true colors. Let's see why they're doing this. Not just on why they're coming here, because this country is better because of our values and our people, primarily of European descent, that made it better. But what's the purpose behind this? You see, they're trying to sell us out. They're trying to benefit the ultra-wealthy and large corporations, special interest groups, globalist agendas, the agendas of Wall Street, and have them pay for it because they're lobbying for it. But do you see the double standards? Yes. Absolutely. So anyway, this bill is going to be coming up very soon, and follow me on Twitter on Cyrus992, and you can kind of respond to these politicians who push me around, ignore me, block me, or whatever. It's absolutely a disaster, folks. We got to wake up to this. We got to fight back. And if enough of us fight, we call into these legislative testimonies, we are likely going to win. We really will. We got to clean up these elections, man. It's another thing we got to do. Anyway, stay tuned. Looks like the stock market is kind of looking better. Again, after all these news that's coming up, it's not crashing. So I'm looking pretty optimistic for February. All right, see you guys soon.